Hello there, welcome back to insidetracks.co.uk, website that helps you trade smarter, YouTube channel that tries to give you hints and tips on different aspects of trading so that you've got better ways to trade and to make profits. And we also do a free newsletter that gives you hints and tips and things that you can look at to make money on the day. So a good service, I hope. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe if you want to get more. Today's topic is finding dobbing candidates. Dobbing is double or bust, so it's a back delay basically. I like to not just back a horse and leave it to run, which quite a few people do like to do. I understand it because it stops you cashing out early and missing out on a double or bust. But I would want to do it slightly more intelligently and back delay in a way that I think can give you a higher rate of success. So I will often offer people back delays and say go for 50%, not double or bust, but just getting 50% of your money so instead of putting £10 and getting £10 back, so that's doubling your money. I'll say put £10 back down and get £5 back from the back delay, and look to get it more often. Dobbing, you have to get more than 50% of the time that to make money. If you go for 50% in a back delay, then you only need to get it right. You need to get it right 75% of the time, which you are obviously more likely to do so. And my record is about 85. Then also there's in-play lays, where you can look to lay horses in running at the bottom end of their cycle. So in other words, instead of backing it and then laying it at a lower odds, you can forget the backing bit and just go to look to lay a horse in running that is likely to then go ahead and lose. So you're looking for horses that run well, look good, are out in front, but actually run out of path or don't deliver what they should. In other words, they don't win very often, but they look as if they're going to win more often than they do. So this is what we're trying to get to, and I'll just show you a few sources of information where you can go yourself and you can look for these types of candidates and giving you some information so that you can make decisions for yourself and therefore deliver yourself more candidates for these types of trades. So where do you look? When do you look for these candidates? Well, I always in the morning of a day's racing is I go into today's cards. I then go into all races, which then brings me up this screen, which takes me through all the races. So I can see them very easily, very quickly. Actually, I look for things like, well, Miss Maya Biggs, okay. She's a very inexperienced jockey, a £7 claimer, going for a reasonably good trainer. Is she liable to do anything on this newcomer? I very much doubt it. So, I've been looking for things like that, saying, oh yeah, okay, that's a possible lay. I look at things like, well, it's an 82, that's setting the standard. So, is there something in here that's more than an 82? This is if I'm doing this race. So I go through them like that, and I look for what may or may not be there. For instance, here, Mark Wynn, an inexperienced £7 claimer, hasn't had a winner in his life, being put up on what is considered to be the favourite, 5 stars from Timeform. So obviously got decent form, but the horse hasn't won either. So you're sitting there going, here's a horse that hasn't won and a jockey hasn't won. Yes, it's rated 64, and all, you can say that on ratings it ought to win, because 64 versus 65, yeah, that's kind of like okay. So here's Desert History, who's on a similar mark. So you can make arguments to say King of Tonga is a good thing, and his last run and all this sort of stuff, and you can say that, but the horse hasn't won and the jockey hasn't won. So how on earth could you justify an 11-10 favoritism on King of Tonga? You can't. So you can't possibly. I mean, it's just not possible to justify that. I mean, 11-10 is what you want to take on a horse that's won the last 4 times out in group company and has got Frankie Dettori on it, for Christ's sakes. So anybody who's taking 11-10 on that, it's going to be frigging mad, basically. And so it has to be a lay or a lay to back, because the jockey will do something wrong at some point in the race. Either it won't jump out the stalls properly or something. And even if it's the best horse in the race, it will do something wrong during the race. So it will trade a lot bigger than 11-10. So you could do it a lay to back. I would be absolute outright lay at 11-10 or anything short of that matter. But that's not the subject of this video. The subject of this video is finding dobbing back to lay or in running horses that we can lay off in running. So start off by looking at some races with some experience. That's where I generally go back to lays, because you need experience to be able to get a history on how this horse has been running in the past and what its odds have gone to, because that gives you the information you need to say how confident am I in this horse running in that style again, and how confident am I that it will in fact trade considerably lower than its Betfair starting price. So you've got to start with a race which is 3-year-olds plus or 4-year-olds plus. You can't start anywhere else. So that's number one rule. Do not think you can do back to lays on 2-year-old races where there's no form on display, just like the one we had a look at before, which was me saying here's an 82 setting the standard. Fine, and you could say, well, great, let's do a back to lay on then the 82 one, and your theory could be as setting the standard at 82, he must, it must be something better coming out of the pack, and if that doesn't happen, he'll trade lower. And that would be a perfectly decent theory, but it's not really based on a lot of information. It's based on a bit of a wish and a bit of a prayer, really. What we want to do is make our decisions based around some decent facts and go and find them and make them work for us. So let's see where we get these facts from. So we've got quite a decent sized field, 15 runners, and that's if no one else drops out in between. And in the morning we'll have a look and we'll see. So some of the things you want to look for, the first one I look for often is I like horses who like the course. So a course and distance winner is definitely there. So Legal Reform, for instance, hasn't won, even though now that is being put up as favourite. So I'm not sure Legal Reform should be favourite. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me, really, honestly, no matter what happens anywhere else. I like to see the horse liking the track, because every track is different and runs differently. Like some tracks like front runners, some tracks are tight bends, some tracks are dead straight. You need the horse to like the track. The next thing you're looking for is a horse that with the back to lay and dobbing, is the horse has to be out in front at some point. It has to be prominent or out in front. It can't be that your horse sits in the background, because you're looking in a back to lay to say, look, it starts off at 10s on Betfair, and because it's in the lead and looks like it might win at the 2 furlong pole, it will trade shorter, no matter whether it then goes on to win or not. But if your horse hangs out the back and gets stuck behind horses, but then runs on fantastically from the 1 furlong pole and just fails, well, it's never going to trade shorter than its BSP. Whereas the horse that horse might lose by half a length, but a horse that's been out in front all the way and is pulled two legs clear at the 1 furlong pole is going to trade at 1.5 or something, even though it then goes on to lose, maybe even doesn't even I've seen horses trading at 1.5 and 1.1 and so on that never even got in the first 3 because it ran out of steam in the last 50 yards and 3 horses went past it. So you'll look, but it did trade significantly low. So again, the fact is, and this is the second fact you've got to have. One, you want horses with a decent amount of form and history that you can go on, and the second one is that the horses you choose for these types of bets must be those that are either going to go into the lead or are prominent. Sorry, that's the third. The second one was they like the course, wasn't it? So they like the course as well. So history, like the course, going to be out in front or prominent. Yeah, those 3 have to be hit. So where do we go next for our information? Well, you can go into the race and view the full race card, and at the races has a few good tools for you to use. I'll show you some of those now, just on so that's today's racing. All this racing's happened, okay? So let's take that. But if I took this one, which hasn't gone off yet, which is the 5:30, I'm 5:11, then we will see what we'd see in the morning for the other race. So you then have several decent pieces of information here. So the first one is things like the draw. Look at the draw. It will give you some information. It'll tell you whether your horse is in a place where it doesn't produce winners. Some draws are very much more important than others. I won't go into it. Places like Chester and others where the draw is really quite essential, Thirsk and quite a few others, where it's very, very important to be low drawn. Then this will be significantly different to this chart here. But just check. We're at Newcastle, where it's not really a course where a draw is a major impact. Then we look at the pace, and we can see from this one indication of the horse's pace. And what we want is a horse up. In this particular race we're looking at, there's no horse above 7 as far as I can see. Maybe you can see different. I can't see one more than 7. So again, we're really looking for 9s and 10s, maybe 8s in a race where the horse has a good draw. Let's take Chelmsford, for example. We see a horse that does like to run and be prominent or leading. It's in a low draw. It's against a whole load of other horses who are, down here at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and it's an 8. So it's going to get out in front from a low draw. It's going to get to the bend before the others, and it's therefore likely to be able to dictate the pace of the race and stay out in front for a while up the straight, where it's actually quite difficult to pass. So that's again, depends on the race and what the competitors are, but ultimately what we're looking for is something with some pace. So this is one indicator. I would tend to look for between 8 and 10 at the race's pace. So that's another criteria. Add that onto the end of the criteria I've also given you, and you'll start going, okay, let's see whether our horse meets that criteria. Okay, so we've now got the race I was looking at was in fact the 310 at Redcar. And what we're going to do now is go and look at Inform ratings. And this was the race we actually were looking at earlier. So we see here what we can do with Inform racing is we can go into the in-depth form, okay? So that comes from this, no, not that, from that chart. So it comes from, when you go into informed racing, they'll give you the track. You go into the track, you see the different races, go into a race, and it will give you the in-depth form. Click that button, and this is what you come into. Okay, the first bit, race conditions. This is quite important. So again, this tells you and backs up from our at the races information, which horses like the course, which horses like a left-hand course, distances, 13 to 19 runs, 2 out of 8. So, so you know, you're being given some information here that says Song of the Isle, one run, one win at the course, 4 out of 15 left-handed, 4 wins out of 12, one in 3 therefore at the distance, and a 1 in 4 in the last 13 to 19 runs. Again, Asmund likes the course, okay on left-handed tracks, okay at distance, etc. So you get Bronze River, you're getting a bit of information on there. So there's some information here which you can use, and it tends to highlight 3 horses to me: Songs of the Isles, Asmund, and Bronze River. We're looking for this chart here, because what did I say? You want a horse that's going to be prominent or leading, correct? Because that's going to give you your back to lay. Is going to mean that if it's prominent or leading, and it continues to do so up to the 1 furlong or pole or beyond, and looks as if it's going to win, then it will trade very much shorter, and our dob and our back to lay and our in play will win. So which horses here have the record, and what this is mode. I don't know whether you all know what mode means, but it means the number of instances that the number is shown in 5. So the last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the number that is shown the most? Is basically the mode. So in those 5, you can see 1, 1 is twice, 4, 4 is twice, and 2 is once. So they've said basically the mode is 1. They've chosen that because of the previous 5, which is the mode 10, which is the last 10 runs. And here we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So half the time this horse has been in the lead, and 3 out of 10 it's been second, and twice it's been in at the back. So mode 5, mode 10 is 1. Mode overall, they're saying is 2. I don't agree with that. If it's 1, 1, it's 1. Eric Block, they're saying 1, 1, 1 again. So again, I think that is fair. Only once has it been out the back, and again, I'm not exactly sure what happened last time out, three times ago, but generally speaking, Eric Block, yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times out of 10 wants to be in the lead. Another one that stands out here is this one, Asmund, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times out of 10, twice second, so 1 and 1. So these 3 would be of interest to us as a rule, and because Asmund and Songs of the Isle have both got course and distance wins, then you would say they stand out as the potential or clear ones that you'd want to be on. So let's have a quick look then. The next port of call is to go to Timeform, and the one I'm interested in, as I said, was Asmund. So I've gone to Timeform, to Asmund, and I've looked at what it's done in the past. Now, this is the race today, so giving something away there, obviously, clearly, because I'm doing an analysis which shows you how it works. And Asmund is here. So it's Betfair starting price 4.3. It went to 3.1. That would be a 50% return on your investment. Here it won. Here it gave you just slightly more than 50%. Here's a Dob. That's not going to give you any kind of profit, 2.7. That would have to be something that you'd say, I'm cashing out at a certain point in that race. That's a Dob. Again, a cash out, a Dob. That was not any good for you or me or anybody else, and that's not particularly good either. So it's got a reasonable record of trading lower. It's not fantastic, but it's reasonable, and generally speaking, where you see it hasn't traded lower, it will be. And what we do next is we look at those particular races where it hasn't dobbed. For instance, here at Pontefract, where it came third out of 6, we have to have a quick look back at the ATR record of the 19th of April. So we go back into Asmund, we look at ATR, and it will tell us exactly how this horse raced, and we'll see, fell out the full stalls, whatever. Is there an excuse there? So there we are. We got way of checking, and this one doesn't look too bad. Isn't the best I've seen. Songs of the Isle, the other one, has done well. Here we see 20.55 to 16, 114 to 95, 59 to 55, 3 1, 17 to 12, 40 to 36, 13 to 9. This isn't great. It's not great, this particular trading history. It's always very high priced, apart from here. We're in a claiming stakes. That seems to be its bag, Songs of the Isle. So it seems to be that you want to wait for Songs of the Isle to go back into a claiming stakes. It's obviously a very cheap horse that will be able to claim an awful lot when it's in claiming stakes. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, claiming stakes here. First, selling stakes there, same difference. It likes heavy ground. So heavy ground, a claiming stakes, good to soft, claiming stakes. So you can see with Songs of the Isle, perhaps in a claiming stakes it would be better. So maybe not in this one. So I think the other one that I did look at and that I want to try and show you is Eric Block. So let me just find that one for you. So Eric Block, we thought was okay, and he got 16 to 16.5 to 6.6, 19 to 17.5, 11 to 10. You can see he dobbed 50%, won, dobbed big time, nearly dobbed big time, and gave 50%. So you'd feel that that's not a bad record from Eric Block. The only issue is we don't see him being particularly effective or showing that he has done anything at the track before. So so let's really see how this might have panned out. So here we are at the 140, red car, 7 furlongs. I'm giving you this as an example. Don't worry about the outcome. The outcome is not the issue. The process is the issue here. So the process we're going through tells us what might be the candidates for dobbing back to lay or in running laying. What we've seen from what we've done so far, we've found a race with where there's experience, a 3-year-old plus. We've found candidates that like the course. We've found ones that want to be prominent in the race, and we've had quick look at things like draw, etc. So we've done as much as we can in terms of showing you the process to go through. I'm just showing you that the outcome of our of this particular race and what might happen. So let's just have a quick look. So we can see Asmund and Eric Block, both of whom showed us would be up there and certainly had that ability, are there. So that's Eric Block and that's Asmund. So here's the other one. See the storm. Sorry, Song of the Owls, the other one we wanted. Sorry, that was not the correct one. So we can see that those that we expected to be up front are in fact up front. And so at this point, where we're nearing this 2 furlong mark, Eric Block here, there is Asmund, and there is the other one. And what we can say is that our analysis has proved okay. And at this point in the race, you'd be saying, with Eric Block in the lead and Asmund here in second, that they are going to be trading lower. And at this point, you would be making a decision whether to, well, you wouldn't be making a decision, you'd have made a decision, wouldn't you? You'd have said, I'm going to take 50% of my money, and this is where I'm going to cash out now. And actually, do we care about the result? Nah, we don't care about the result. At this point, Asmund and Eric Block are likely to have paid you 50% on your money. Okay, and that's really it. I mean, that's why I'm not going to play the rest of the tape. That's why I don't care about the result, is because at that point there, they're trading lower, and they're going to give you a return on your money. And the less greedy you are about how much you want back from your bet, the more likely you are to get it. So if you put, say, £20 back bet, or even a £10 back bet, then you can make £5 quite easily, because all that has to happen is that the horse needs to trade at 75% of its odds. So if it's 10, it only needs to trade at 7.5. Doesn't need to go down to 5. 5 would be 100%. But if it's 10 and you only want 50% of your money back, so you want your fiver back, you only need to trade at 7.5. And I can tell you now that those two horses would give you your money back, because they were both prominent and both at the 2 furlong pole, looking as if they were going to have a very good chance of winning this. In fact, they didn't. And if I played it on, I'd show you they didn't. And in fact, if you were looking carefully, you'd see that from the Timeform charts that I was showing you. Doesn't matter. We're not interested in whether it wins or not. We're interested in whether it's going to give us money from our research. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for money back for the time and effort we put in to finding that we know that Asmund and Eric Block are going to be up there in front, because that's what we've just shown. We've just shown that was going to happen, because that's the way they've run in the past, and that's the way they're going to run in the future. So look for your Dobbing and your back to lay. Now, obviously when I went through the different charts, like Asmund, I'll show you it again. We're not really seeing a fantastically, what I would like to see in a chart like this is Dob, win, another dob, maybe not a dob, then another dob, another. So in other words, I want to see at least 6 or 7 out of 10 dobs, yeah, because actually what we need to have a record of 50% or more winners on dobs. And if I can see though that this is trading at 75% of its Betfair starting price on more than 8 occasions out of 10, then again I'm very, very confident in backing it and saying it's going to give me 50% again on my money. So so you get your confidence from the history and from the research, not from just guessing that in this race it's going to be okay. Obviously, your confidence about a horse comes from things like this. Red car, it won. Okay, this is important. This is really important that that extra piece of information comes through, which says, yeah, it cannot run under the conditions. It can run at the course. It's not going to be in a draw that's terrible, because it's not going to be like right on the outside at Chester. It's got a jockey on it that's got, Zach Wheatley is a £7 player, but he's a good one, as opposed to, for instance, I've just shown you one that has been out 6 times and not won, very inexperienced. He's on an 11 to 10 favourite. I wouldn't do that. Zach on a Dobbing or a back to lay, absolutely, why not? So, but I do have my favourites. I do have my bad ones. Okay, I cannot stand some jockeys. Jamie Spencer, for one, who tends to fart around, and he wants to be the hero who comes flying through at the end, and generally he fucks up. Sorry, excuse me, my language. Generally, he doesn't do very well, and so you don't make any money because he's always wanting to be sat at the back, and he always wanting to be coming late, and he doesn't actually manage it most of the time. So yeah. Get your confidence from the number of times it's dobbed, or it's got at least to 75% of its Betfair starting price. You can see that from here on Timeform. Get your confidence from the different sources I've given you. The Inform Racing, that it's going to be out in front, and that's where it wants to be, and that's where it's run well. Where it hasn't run well, or where it's been, out of sorts, it's been running in out the back. Go into ATR and check how that run went. Was it in a, sometimes you find these horses who should be in a class 4 or class 5 race. Suddenly the owners go, oh, I really want to go into a group race, and they enter them into the group race at 50 to 1, and of course they never get out of 12th place. So again, you'll find that happens, or the jockey's trying a new method, or it's just changed trainers, or there'll be some this changed trainers. There's some reason why here this change of trainer from Carl Burt to Declan Carroll resulted in the trainer putting him in for the Doncaster race, where he was 14th out of 18, clearly didn't run well, was 50 to 1, did very little. In fact, must have done bugger all really, as a 72.55 to only trade at 65. It really probably just sat out the back and never got any further. But I'd be looking at that race and saying, can I just put a line through it? And as long as you don't see that being replicated, you can put a line through it. There's no problem putting a line through something unless there's something that tells you that you shouldn't be putting a line through it. So look at those races, go back to ATR, look at the way that horse run in that race, and say, yeah, no, that was just Declan Carroll chucking me out there as soon as he got him, and trying to assess him, and try him with a different running method or something, and it didn't work, and whatever. You can put a line through some of these results. Okay, I'm rambling now, so I'll stop. Hopefully you've learned enough to give yourselves a chance to say, okay, go through the racing in the morning, find some decent races that you want to go for, go through the process I've said, go in, find out stuff from ATR, find stuff from Inform Racing, find stuff from Timeform, add in your own information, maybe jockeys and trainers and courses and draws and going, and then you've got your decision. Draw up your short list and have that as your guide to the afternoon and your trading, if this is what you want to do. I hope that's been useful and that it's beneficial. If you've got any questions, please do ask. Always happy to learn myself. I don't stop learning every day. I learn something new. So please do put me right on anything that you think I got wrong, or give me some information about what you do. Information sources I'm always interested in. Like this video, please. Subscribe. Go onto the newsletter. Subscribe to that. And I wish you the very best of luck with your trading. Cheers then. Bye.